The morning sun poured through the diner's glass windows, painting streaks of gold on the red booths and chrome counters. The air smelled of fresh coffee and worn-out dreams. But when Rex Ironheart Malone, the leader of the Steel Serpents MC, walked in with his crew, he noticed something no one else did. A trembling waitress with pain written across her face. Her smile was forced, her eyes red from sleepless nights, and a deep purple bruise peeked out from under her collar. As she poured coffee into Rex's cup, her hands shook, spilling a few drops. The biker's gaze froze. He had seen those marks before, not on himself, but on people life had chewed up and spat out. If this story already has your heart, hit that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe to Soul Spark for more stories that touch your soul. Rex had lived a life most people only whispered about. Tattoos on his arms told tales of war, loyalty, and loss. But nothing hit him harder than seeing someone broken and pretending they were fine. The waitress, whose name tag read Emily, moved quietly between tables, serving smiles she didn't feel. Every now and then, her eyes darted toward the diner's door, like she was afraid someone might walk in. Rex noticed it all. He didn't speak, didn't ask questions. He just watched. His crew, Tank, Diesel, and Ghost, were busy laughing about last night's ride, but Rex's mind was somewhere else. He couldn't shake off the sight of that bruise, the tremor in her voice, and the sadness hiding behind her gentle manners. When she came back with the check, he saw it. Another bruise, this one fading yellow near her wrist. "You okay, sweetheart?" he asked softly. Emily's eyes widened, and she forced a quick nod. "Yes, sir. Just clumsy, I guess." But Rex wasn't buying it. Not for a second. That night, Rex couldn't sleep. His brothers were at the bar, roaring with laughter, but he sat alone, staring at his coffee, remembering Emily's trembling hands. He'd seen too many people hurt in silence. He'd lost his sister to the same kind of fear years ago. She, too, had smiled to hide the bruises. By the next morning, the decision was made. The Steel Serpents roared their engines and headed straight to Maggie's diner, not for breakfast this time, but for answers. When they arrived, Emily was behind the counter again. She froze when she saw them. Rex smiled gently and said, "Morning, darlin'. Coffee for the road." Her voice cracked as she nodded. "Sure thing." Then, as she poured, a man barged into the diner, red-faced, drunk, and angry. "You think you can ignore my calls, huh?" he shouted. The whole diner went silent. Everyone recognized him. Tom, her boyfriend. The town drunk, who everyone avoided. He grabbed Emily's arm roughly, yanking her close. She winced but didn't scream. That's when Rex stood up. "Let her go," Rex said, his voice low, steady, but deadly calm. Tom turned around, eyes narrowing at the leather jacket, the tattoos, the skull patch. "Stay out of this, old man. Ain't your business." Rex took a slow step forward, his boots echoing on the floor. Behind him, his brothers rose too, a wall of muscle and silent fury. The diner felt smaller, suddenly, heavy with tension. "I don't like repeating myself," Rex said, eyes locked on Tom's trembling hand. "Let her go." Tom laughed nervously, trying to play tough. "You bikers think you can tell me." Before he could finish, Tank stepped closer, his shadow swallowing the light. He said, "Let her go," he growled. Tom released her arm, backing away, but not before sneering, "She's mine." Rex's jaw tightened. "She belongs to no one. Not you, not anyone. Now get out." Tom spat on the floor and stumbled out, muttering threats. Rex turned to Emily. Her eyes glistened with unshed tears. "You okay?" he asked. She nodded slowly, whispering thank you. But Rex wasn't done. Not by a long shot. That night, Rex followed Tom. The man lived in a rundown trailer on the edge of town. When Tom stumbled inside, Rex and his crew surrounded the place quietly. Rex didn't want revenge. He wanted fear. The kind that would make Tom think twice before raising his hand again. He knocked on the door, and when Tom opened it, he froze. Rex leaned close. "If you ever touch her again, I swear by the road I ride, I'll make sure you never lift that hand again." Tom tried to bluster, but Diesel stepped forward, cracking his knuckles. "You understand him, or should we explain slower?" Tom nodded quickly, shaking with fear. Rex turned away, lighting a cigarette. "Good. because next time it won't be a warning. And just like that, they left, the rumble of their bikes echoing through the night like thunderous justice. By morning, everyone in town had heard about what happened. The story spread faster than fire, how the steel serpent stood up for a broken waitress when no one else did. Emily didn't come to work that day. But the next morning, she walked into the diner with her head held high, a faint smile on her lips, and a light in her eyes that hadn't been there before. She served coffee to the bikers again, but this time she wasn't trembling. Rex raised his cup slightly in her direction, and she smiled, whispering, "Thank you." He just nodded, replying softly, "You deserve peace, not pain." That afternoon, someone noticed Tom had packed up and left town. No one knew where he went, no one asked, and no one missed him. Weeks passed, and Emily started to rebuild her life. The steel serpents often dropped by, not to scare anyone, but to make sure she was safe. She started baking muffins for them, calling them her coffee nights. The town began to see the bikers differently, not as outlaws, but as protectors. People greeted them with respect, even gratitude. Rex never bragged, never spoke of what he did. He just looked out the diner window one morning and said to Ghost, "Funny thing, brother, sometimes the roughest roads lead to the kindest hearts." Ghost smiled. "That's why they call you Ironheart, boss." If this story moved you, take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who believes in kindness, and subscribe to Soul Spark for more true and powerful tales of courage and compassion. Sometimes heroes don't wear badges or capes. They wear leather, carry scars, and ride roaring machines. But beneath the tattoos and tough words, they hold hearts big enough to protect the broken and fight for the forgotten. And that day, in a quiet diner on the edge of nowhere, one man's courage reminded a whole town. Real strength isn't about fear, it's about standing up when it truly matters.